All right, back here in the patch with another update. We're continuing here with these plants. We're right now, Casper's is still in the lead. Now I've got the sticks out, getting him on the straight and narrow there. The other ones, I don't predict that they're going to be able to catch up. I've been told a lot of things about these issues with the leaves now. I've been told iron deficiency. I've been told magnesium deficiency, even though my soil is high in magnesium, but I suppose under certain circumstances, the plant can still come up short on magnesium if the conditions are just right for it. So it's a possibility. But if you look at the new growth, especially on Casper's here, it's normal. So if the new growth looks fine, then I'm not going to worry about what happened back here. I want to worry about what's going on going forward. Another thing is, Michael Hodge sent me a picture of his plants in one of his locations where they got a little bit of herbicide drift from the field, and they look very similar to what's happening with these leaves, where they kind of look stunted and kind of fuzzy and small. If that's the worst that's going to happen with fertilizer or with herbicide drift, then I mean, I'll take that as opposed to losing the plant entirely, just systematically killing it. Yeah, I think we're going to be all right. So we got Casper straightened out. If we look here at 2054 Strickler, I've still got both plants in for the time being. Boy, it's hard to tell. This one, here's the thing. This one has this. It's shorter, but it also has the stronger stem. If you go all the way back to the stub here, this stem is very thick. Now, if you look at the other one, it's a little bit thinner, a little bit more straggly. Now, that could just be because it's been growing faster. I don't know. You know, I don't have enough experience to know that with these plants. Last year, I only had one plant survive, so I just went with that one. I didn't have to choose. This year, it's a little bit harder. But I think for right now, you know, we'll just say this one's in the lead. It's actually already throwing tap roots, as you can see down there at the nodes. So I'm good with that. Unfortunately, I had to move this a little bit. So Barker is still going strong. Again, same thing. We're looking at back here, yellowing of the leaves and of the stem. Up here, closer to the front, less yellow, more normal looking leaves, and actually a female there. As we can see, it's entirely possible that out of all the plants, this one might have been the one I chose to be the pollinator. Might have been, maybe I should have just grown the fruit on this one. Nevertheless, and then on top of that, I've got secondary development coming out. This secondary here is already a foot long. This is a very strong plant in spite of its deficiencies. And so, yeah, and it's it would just figure. Yeah, we'll just go with that. And I got the hoop hoe out here, and I started getting rid of some of the weeds. There's still some I mean, a lot of that stuff I hoop hoed. It's still sitting there on the top, but that's been pulled out. The hoop hoe, as we call it, or stirrup hoe, has been an invaluable tool to me. Just, you know, you pull it out every day. Just do a little bit. Man, it's so easy. I'll show you. And I've got the one I have here. I got this cheap on Amazon. It's got like a 6-foot reach on it, and I'm pretty tall. So if you do a little bit every day, you pretty much keep the weeds away. Okay, so here's a little patch right here close to the plant that I just never touched. Just take it. Whoop. Look at that. One-handed. I'm doing this one-handed, by the way. Look at that. There, it's all done. So yeah, and the other thing is, you'll notice I don't have any walking boards. My walking spot is right here where this fabric is when I walk to take a look and take care of the plants. As the season goes on, I'm just going to walk out there, and then as weeds come up, weeds will typically come up in the more compacted spots here, at least the weeds we have here. So once that happens, I take the hoop hoe, you rough it up, not compact anymore. Now it's loose enough for the nodes and the side vines and everything to throw their tap roots in, no problem. So I think that's going to be the strategy. And then hopefully within the next week, these plants start looking a little bit more green in terms of the foliage and the size of it. I'm just, I'm just happy to have that. All right, we're here taking another look at the plants. It's May 30th. Plants are still growing. these secondaries here are really starting to stretch out here on the Barker plant. I had to pull back some of the plastic there. We still have a female right here on this node that I'm going to try to pollinate on this plant, even though this plant was going to just be the pollinator. But yeah, everything looks good. I don't know, something got a hold of this leaf right here. I'm not sure what happened. Actually started ripping into this one too. We're going to spray insecticide tonight. Here's the 2054 Strickler, curved around, coming out over there. I haven't looked too closely at the tip. I don't think I see any females out there yet, which is fine. I'd like to have several more feet before we pollinate anything. Secondaries are coming out finally on this one. I had to clip a few off here since we curved it around. Got male flowers opening. This one was open yesterday. The rest are coming on. I've done some pruning here to get rid of some of the riffraff. And then over here, 1935.5 Caspers. The secondaries are coming on strong, coming out this way. Over here, not so much yet. I mean, we've got a couple. See, some of these leaves that were stunted from the herbicide drift right here. And so these are actually sitting on secondaries, but the secondaries themselves are growing up instead of out. So it looks a little weird. Just the result of some issues there in the early going. But the rest of them here are coming out nicely. I'd like to see greater secondary development there, but I didn't really have good secondary development from any of the plants. These just so happen to be the best ones. And I know secondary development is something we look at when we're culling plants to see which ones are going to make the cut, but really wasn't an option for any of them. So I kind of just had to go with the length. Leaves are getting bigger, vines are getting longer, plants are getting stronger. Definitely going to have at least this pollination pretty soon. And then I know probably going to pollinate something on these. It will be an earlier pollination than last year. Oh yeah, this is what we like to see and hear. It's nice to listen to as well. So this is a nice steady rain we've got on the 1st of June. I was actually gonna use a root drench insecticide I got from a buddy today. However, that's not going to happen. We're going to put that off for a few days. The ground was already pretty wet underneath anyway, but this is really going to soak the ground out there. It's probably hard to see the patch. You can kind of see it from here. The potato plants are actually bigger than everything else, but yeah, this is what I like to see. This water is probably a lot better than what's coming from the tap. Okay, here's another update. This is June 3rd? No, it's June 4th. June 4th, sorry about that. I've removed the plastic that was over here because obviously the Barker plant's going to start extending down. These 3 secondaries are the ones that are going to grow down in this general direction, not take up too much space on this side because the Strickler's got to spread out. Of course, it's got the whole other side over there to go to. Plant's doing very well. I've done some more maintenance, some more pruning. Of course, the method I'm using this year, if you can't tell, of course I'm cutting with a razor and then spraying just regular isopropyl alcohol on the wound, and then I sprinkle sulfur powder on it. The sulfur powder helps it dry out quicker. It kind of absorbs some of the liquid and just kind of helps the wound from getting soggy and developing just a systemic rot problem. So I do that on all of my cuts now. Most of the cuts. See, I got a little aggressive there, but that's okay. I almost cut it. I got just a wee little bit into the main there when I got rid of this one, but it's fine. No problems here. This is gonna open up tomorrow, so we're gonna have June 5th pollination on this. Now, yeah, I know this is only about 5, maybe 5.5 feet from the base. This is not going to be a large fruit. If you remember, this is a plant I was just going to use as a pollinator, but since it threw the first female, I thought, yeah, we'll just grow fruit on it and see how heavy it goes, since it's the plant, or the pumpkin, the 1363 Barker was 24% heavy, so it was like a boulder of a pumpkin that this seed came from. So we'll see how this one does in terms of heaviness to chart. We got 2 male flowers back there. I'll bring those inside tonight, put them in some water, use those to pollinate this guy. Twisty tie around this and cover it so that we don't get any extra pollen from like the clover. Pretty much around here, you're only going to get clover pollen, other than what's going on here in the garden. Maybe a little bit from the potatoes, I don't know. But none of that would be, none of that would work anyway, so. But we want to get pure pumpkin pollen into that. So you can see on the main vine here, it's giving me another female over there. Why not grow that one? You know what? I've got to stick with the plan. I'm just going to stick with the plan. I'm only a second-year grower. I don't have any particular gut instincts about this stuff, although maybe I should. I don't know. We'll grow this here. I've already got it curved over. I'm going to actually, once I know that this is good, that the pollination is taken about a week or so after it starts swelling, I will cut this main vine off and just let those 3 secondaries feed the plant, feed the pumpkin. All right, let's move over here to the Strickler. All these plants are really starting to grow much quicker now. The secondaries are starting to come out a little bit better. I did some pruning here, as you can see. I cut off the kickstand leaf, and at the tip over there, we do have a female on the tip on this one. That one would be, if I account for this little curve here that I did, probably somewhere between 8 and 10 feet. I'll have to measure it. I'm going to get opinions on whether or not I should take that one, just due to the pollination timing. Because if I had more time, I'd probably let it continue to grow and just take the next one. Which, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like another 3 feet later. But of course it wouldn't be pollinated as soon. So I don't know. I'm going to field opinions on that. Casper's is still growing vine. These secondaries are really coming out quick. These ones are a little slower. I think it's because when the field drift came in and hit this thing, it hit this side a little harder. So the secondaries are slower to come out. They'll come out eventually. I mean, the ones up there are coming out. I need to start covering the secondary nodes little by little here. What I'm going to do is mix up some worm castings and peat moss and just get it really nice and muddy, nice and wet. Then sprinkle some azos on the node and then just cover the node. I'm not going to bury the whole vine. I think that's a recipe for rot. And as it is, I'm not covering anything on the mains this year. I'm just letting the mains root from underneath. I'm just a little gun shy to do anything with the main, because if I cover the main, I'm afraid it's just going to rot. So yeah, I'm not going to bother doing that this time around. I think last year I ran into trouble with that, on top of getting yellow vine disease. Speaking of which, I'm about to mix up some root drench insecticide and put that down on these. Yeah, and then we'll take a video tomorrow of the pollination, and then that'll be all for this one. So we're pollinating. We've got a nice, looks like a 4 or 5 lober there. Pretty good looking symmetry too. So I took the flowers, removed the petal. I've already did it with one, but I'm going to do it with the second one too, just to really make sure it gets in there. So we're going to make sure this gets plenty of pollen on it, just so we make sure that it takes. So there's that. Oh, we got some things coming in there. Oh, got to get rid of that stuff. Okay. All right. Well, I got to go and get this zipped back up. We'll see you next time.